This happened about 3 years ago. I still check my mirrors every time I drive at night because of it. It was a Thursday around 10:30 p.m. I had just left my friend's apartment about 40 minutes away from my house. The roads were mostly empty, just the occasional headlights passing in the opposite direction. About 10 minutes into the drive, I noticed a pair of headlights behind me. Nothing unusual at first, same distance, same lane. I changed lanes just to let them pass. They didn't. Instead, they changed lanes too. I told myself I was overthinking it. It was late. Maybe we were just heading in the same direction. But then I took an exit I never take. It's a longer, more complicated route home. One I only use if there's traffic. The car took it too. At that point, my stomach dropped. I slowed down. They slowed down. I sped up. They stayed perfectly behind me. Not tailgating, not aggressive, just there. I couldn't see inside the vehicle. The headlights were too bright, but I could tell it was a dark sedan, maybe black or navy. I considered calling someone, but I didn't want to sound paranoid. So I made another random turn, then another. The car followed every single one. That's when I knew this wasn't coincidence. By the time I reached my neighborhood, my hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I thought about driving to the police station instead of home. But it was late. I was tired, and a part of me still hoped I was wrong. I turned onto my street. The sedan turned too. Now I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. My house is near the end of a quiet cul-de-sac. No through traffic. No reason for anyone to be there unless they lived there. I pulled into my driveway slowly. The car kept going past my house. For a second, I felt relief. Then I watched in my side mirror as it stopped, reversed, and slowly parked across the street, directly facing my house. The headlights stayed on. The engine stayed running, but the driver never got out. I sat frozen in my car for a good 30 seconds. Then I grabbed my phone and pretended to talk loudly as I got out. "Yeah, I'm home. Dad's awake. Don't worry. I don't even live with my dad." I rushed inside, locked the door, and turned off all the lights. From behind the curtains, I peeked out. The car was still there, engine idling. No movement, no interior light, nothing. I couldn't see a silhouette. No shifting, no door opening. Just a dark figure sitting in the driver's seat, watching. After about 15 minutes, I called the police. I felt stupid explaining it. There's just a car parked outside, and it followed me. The dispatcher asked if the driver had threatened me. No. If they tried to get out? No. If they were blocking traffic? No. She told me an officer would swing. The next morning, I woke up to knocking. Not loud, just firm. When I looked outside, there were 2 police cars on my street, and the sedan was still there, except now, the engine wasn't running. An officer asked if I was the one who called last night. I said yes. He looked uneasy. He asked how long the vehicle had been there. I told him since around 11 p.m. He exchanged a glance with the other officer. Then he said something I'll never forget. "Did you notice if the driver ever moved?" I told him no. He nodded slowly. Then he told me they had responded to a welfare call from a neighbor that morning. Someone walking their dog had noticed the same car parked all night. When officers approached the vehicle, they found the driver slumped over the wheel. Dead? They said he'd likely been dead for hours, possibly even before he followed me. That part didn't make sense to me. How could he have been dead before? I asked. The officer hesitated. Then he explained. There were no signs of recent trauma, no gunshot, no visible injury, but the coroner estimated time of death to be sometime in the late afternoon, several hours before I even left my friend's place, which meant either the estimate was wrong, or the man driving behind me that night wasn't alive. There was one more detail the officer mentioned. The man had no ID, no phone, no registration matching the vehicle. The plates came back registered to someone who had died 2 years prior. Different state, different name. The car had likely been unregistered for a while. They never officially told me a cause of death, just that it was under investigation. The vehicle was towed, and that was the last I heard about it. But here's what keeps me up at night. When I first noticed the car behind me, I remember clearly seeing the driver's hands on the steering wheel when we passed under a streetlight, both hands gripping tight. And I remember something else. The headlights never flickered. The car never swerved. It followed me perfectly. Every turn, every lane change, like it knew exactly where I was going, like it had done it before. And sometimes, when I pull into my driveway late at night, I swear I see headlights slow down at the corner of my street. But when I look again, there's nothing there, just darkness.